Welcome to the Becoming a Pilot podcast, where we share first-hand experiences, practical advice, and insights from pilots at every stage of their journey. I'm your host, Dave Angus, and whether you're just starting out or working towards your next rating, we're here to help you navigate the path to becoming a pilot. So buckle up, stay tuned, and let's talk all things aviation.
This podcast is brought to you by Genesis Flight College, Canada's premier flight center. With an advanced fleet of Diamond aircraft and experienced instructors, Genesis Flight College provides top-tier training in the heart of southern Georgian Bay. Ready to start your journey to becoming a pilot? Inquire today.
Welcome back to the Becoming a Pilot podcast. My name is Dave, and I'm a flight instructor here at Genesis. I'm joined today by...
I'm Tyler, and I'm also a flight instructor here at Genesis.
We're going to talk a little bit today. Actually, we got a submission online, so we appreciate it. If you have any submissions or idea requests for our shows, just send them over on our Instagram. We'd be glad to bring them up. So today we're going to actually talk about getting ready for the Transport Canada written exam, especially the PPL one, because that's the first written test that you have, right? And always the most daunting because there's so much unknown, right? Once you've written 5 or 6 Transport Canada exams, you kind of understand almost the psychology behind them, right? I always say to some of my students, you can kind of just psychologically figure out what they're trying to get at by the end of it.
Yeah.
But the PPL, you have no idea what to expect, right? So, Tyler, I'll ask you, what do you do with your students to from the beginning, let's say from day one, to start getting them ready for that PPL written test?
So at the beginning, I'd say that for my students, we go over a lot of flight weather briefs, which helps them with the meteorology section.
Right, that's a big one.
Weight and balance too. Day one, we do the weight and balance calculations, so that helps quite a bit. And throughout our ground school syllabus here at Genesis with the cadets, we have a very structured program with hundreds of hours of in-class instruction. And towards the end of the PPL ground syllabus, we start to incorporate tests on each subject. So that'll be the navigation, meteorology, and air law and gen section, so that they're well prepared going into the exam.
Right, that's awesome. So the students get to go in, get a whole bunch of ground instruction, right, from all different instructors. We have in-class instructors that almost exclusively do that, and then we have other flight instructors that do it as well.
Right.
And that one is going to help make you a better pilot in the air, practically speaking, but it's also going to get that background like the theoretical knowledge, right? So you're ready for that PPL test. So you were saying there that you break it down into 4 sections. So what are those 4? Is that the 4 sections that are on the test?
Yeah.
Oh, so we got the 4 sections on the test, and we know that we have to achieve a passing grade on each, and we need a passing grade overall. So there's a couple different passing grades that we need, and each test is slightly different, right? The parameters get a little tighter as you go to CPL and whatnot.
Yeah.
But we can't just be an expert in, let's say, air law. Air law is my big one, right?
That's it.
I could do air law every day, but it's black and white. It's very easy to me. I find reading laws simple, easy to remember. Whereas something like meteorology, where it can be up for interpretation a little bit sometimes, that's normally a little bit more challenging, right?
Yeah.
So when we discuss that stuff in class, one, we're going to get a practical application of meteorology, but we're also going to get the theoretical knowledge that's needed in order to pass the tests, and also understand. I always say, like, there's 2 trains of thought. Like, you don't just want to pass the test. Like, beating the sheet is great, but if you don't understand the knowledge, what's going to end up happening is you're going to go in for your oral, for your flight test, and it's all going to come out there, right? If you got 90% or 98% or whatever on your PPL written, chances are the flight test examiner is going to look at that, probably understand that you do have a good background knowledge, but they're going to start picking and start seeing what you know and what you don't know. And just kind of a little tip, and I'm sure you've heard this too, but a lot of examiners, they'll look at that written test results, they'll flip to the back, they'll see what you got wrong, and they'll start asking you questions on that throughout their oral exam, right? Because they
that's
want to
good.
see if you've now gone to the instructor like you're supposed to,
Right.
discussed the wrong answers, and now you now have a knowledge of it, right?
Right.
So, so if we're talking about the ground school stuff, have you is there anything else that we do? Like maybe I'm coming here and I'm not an integrated ATPL student and I'm just a modular student. Is there anything that you can do to help me that's not going to get the 700 hours of in class or whatever it is, and not going to necessarily get that same lecture style class experience?
Yeah, so getting the students prepared for the written exam, we like to do a lot of in-house ground sessions with the students if they need it. If they struggle with certain sections of the written exam, so we would encourage students to go and first off do one of the TC practice exams online. That gives them a good foundational knowledge or kind of a guide to see where their weak points are, right? So then they can focus more on that. Like you were saying, meteorology might not have been your most favorite topic. For me, I was quite weak in it, so I spent a lot of time, and it's always been one of my best assessed marks for any of my written exams. So figuring out early where your weak point lies, and then spend more time and structure your potential one-on-one time with your instructor to kind of go over those questions that you're not getting right. And there's a lot of good resources out there in terms of practice exams.
Okay.
So we can refer our students to use online programs and or textbooks that are really good at giving similar style questions as the student would see on the TC exam. So then they're familiar with the questioning style. The TC exams really are a challenging test of your literacy skills, because you can have the knowledge and know the answer, but the way they question you will trick you in a way, because it's maybe not the most correct answer. Like you have 50-50 shot between one or the other, and they're looking for the most correct answer. So yeah, it's the PPL is the hardest because you're not used to their questioning style. So a lot of these online exam prep websites like Wise Pilot, they are good at giving realistic questioning style to TC's exam.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, just kind of understanding the style. And that's what I was kind of circling back to it, where I found for myself, tests felt like they got easier.
Yeah.
Yes, you're building more knowledge, but the tests are getting harder.
Yeah.
But you start understanding the psychology behind the writing of this, like the writing style and the words that they use in order to kind of get their point across. One thing that I would say with my students is when we talk about the nav side of that test is I always go, have fun. Like think of it like you're doing that flight. Like treat it like real world. Plan it out on the map first. You've probably done it already with your instructor. I would hope so. Well, you've at least done it in your ground school. Plan it out before you even look at the questions. Plan everything. Look at what, some checkpoints. No, not that you have to put the checkpoints down, but landmarks, because they're probably going to ask you certain things about that. Hey, you drifted off and you're over this, right? And use that as your way to kind of enjoy the test. I remember for mine, I just got lucky with this. My dad grew up in a very small town out in the west side of Quebec, right across the Quebec border. And this small little town, which is a blip on the map, it was one of the points in the nav route for my PPL written. So I'd always wanted to make that flight, and the flight I think it started in Peterborough, if I'm not mistaken, but somewhere there. And one of the checkpoints was Shawville, Quebec, which is the small little town where he grew up, right?
That's cool.
And so I had a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. And I've kind of taken every navigation portion of it that way, right? To just kind of have fun, plan it as if I was going to do it, right? So meteorology, I think circling back to that, what you were saying by us putting a lot of emphasis on the ground portion of it. And I think as well, like from day one, yes, we make them start doing weight and balances. You got to do that every flight. But we also start to get them to do a weather brief, right? And even though we just start of, hey, what way the wind's coming from, right? That's step one. You learn that and you're comfortable with, oh, the winds are coming out of the north today. Now I know which runway to pick. Okay, very basic, but now we've learned some. Now we can add to that. The next time you come in, okay, where are the clouds at? What's coming now? What's coming in 2 hours from now? What's coming tomorrow, right? We can start talking about those things and building on it and snowballing so that now when you get into the test, you have a more practical knowledge of meteorology, which makes it a lot easier, right? Especially when they start asking you TAF questions, so forecast questions, METAR questions. We've looked at them. Unfortunately, we don't have one here. And I'll argue all day long that we should have a METAR and TAF at Collingwood because Wyerton versus Muskoka are two totally different planets of weather.
Right.
And we're somewhere in the middle, right? So, so learning how to read those, though, and interpret, okay, what are they saying west of us? What are they saying east of us? And now we got to figure out, well, what's actually going to happen here? Well, what's going to happen here because of the lake just north of us? Well, the weather's coming, it's all coming in from the northwest, right? Oh, we're going to have different effects than if it was coming from the southwest, right? Just because of geographically the way that weather's traveling over the earth, right? So all of those little things and because of where we're situated, we have some cool like obscurities like that can help you in that written test as well, right?
Yeah.
So doing the ground school stuff, practical flying, anything else that you'd find that we do here that can help you get ready for it?
One thing that came to mind I was thinking about was the style of the exams in terms of like answering the questions if you're not sure about a question, or let's say it's a long form question, similar to a nav or maybe a meteorology one. Save those long ones like that actually require you to interpret the GFAs and the TAPs. Maybe save those to the end, bookmark them.
Sure.
And then answer the easier questions that you know the answers to, and then come back and answer those at the end. Because overall, they're still only worth 1 mark. Right. So if you spend, like, let's say 10 minutes decoding a GFA, that's time you could have been spent potentially answering the other questions so that you don't run out of time. Another tip I would give students is don't second guess. If you have the initial instinct that that's the right answer, maybe if you have time at the end, go back and review it. But chances are you changing the answer, it probably was right the first time. So just keep it the same way unless you're certain or you had like an aha moment. Oh, I forgot about that.
I was just going to add that, like, because sometimes you'll go back and read the question like, wow, I read that totally wrong. That's like, I'm the worst for that, right?
Yeah.
Then, okay, you might want to change your answer if it's very obviously incorrect, or maybe you clicked the wrong thing. I say clicked, sorry, we should kind of preface that. So Transport Canada's tests are done online.
Digital,
right? So you could do, the nice thing with us, and this kind of takes some of the nerves down, we do the PPL test here, somewhere you're used to, somewhere you're comfortable with. So it's proctored here, it's done here, but everything else will be done at a Transport Canada office. Which is a little bit more intimidating feeling because you're in a classroom full of people. I always had struggle with that because of people tapping or grunting and groaning and all that.
The background.
But kind of going to your bookmarking, on that software, you can bookmark anything and it'll come back to you.
Right.
So, I think all those things are really good. It's one thing we like to see our students be successful. I find that overall, our PPL passing grade is very good for the written test. We don't really see too many of the marks outside of here. Obviously, just the instructor would. But in-house, it's a high success rate, which is good. And I think that has to do with, the way that one, we teach it. But also, I think the biggest thing is the support system, right? As instructors, we are encouraged from management and ownership to do groundwork, right? Some other schools don't have that same support about doing groundwork and assisting the student and making sure they're proficient in that before you even get in the air, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We always say the best classroom is on the ground, right? Not in the airplanes. So might as well learn it on the ground before you get in the planes.
Definitely. Yep.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it. Anything else you want to add?
I think that's it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, like I said, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or any recommendations for future episodes, please hit us up on our Instagram, and we'll be glad to talk about it in a future episode.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Tyler.
See you soon.
See ya.